It's great to be here. And thank you very much for the welcome.
We love you, Steve!
Yeah. Thanks, I think. Okay, well, listen, we have got a great conference for you guys this week. So, let's get back to iPhone. In 2007, iPhone reinvented what we think of as a phone. It's hard to remember what it was like before iPhone. Carriers controlled what was on the phone. There were a few apps, but nothing like we think about apps today. There was no free market for apps. There was no app store. It was really different before the iPhone. And the iPhone started to change all of that in 2007. It was a revolution. In 2008, we added 3G networking and the App Store. In 2009, the iPhone 3GS was twice as fast, and we added some other cool features like video recording. For 2010, we're going to take the biggest leap since the original iPhone. And so today, we're introducing iPhone 4, the fourth generation iPhone. Now, this is really hot. And there are well over 100 new features, and we don't have time to cover all of them today. So I get to cover 8 of them with you. 8 new features of the iPhone 4. The first one, an all-new design. Now, stop me if you've already seen this. Believe me, you ain't seen it. You've got to see this thing in person. It is one of the most beautiful designs you've ever seen. This is, beyond a doubt, the most precise thing, one of the most beautiful things we've ever made. Glass on the front and the rear, and stainless steel running around, and the precision of which this is made is beyond any consumer product we've ever seen. Its closest kin is like a beautiful old Leica camera. It's unheard of in consumer products today. Just gorgeous. And it's really thin. This is the new iPhone 4. Now, because there have been a few photos of this around, people have asked, what's this? Some have even said, this doesn't seem like Apple. What are these lines in this beautiful stainless steel band? Well, it turns out there's not just one of them, there's 3 of them. And they are part of the entire structure of this phone. That stainless steel band that runs around is the primary structural element of the phone. And there are these 3 slits in it. It turns out this is part of some brilliant engineering, which actually uses the stainless steel band as part of the antenna system. And so one piece is Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and GPS, and the other is UMTS and GSM. So it's got these integrated antennas right in the structure of the phone. It's never been done before. And it's really cool engineering. And extraordinary build quality. Again, I don't think there's another consumer product like this. When you hold this in your hands, it's unbelievable. So this is our all-new design for the iPhone 4. Second one, this is a biggie. Something we call the Retina display. What's that? Well, in any display, there are pixels. Here's 4 of them. We start off with the Retina display by dramatically increasing the pixel density. 4 times as many pixels. in the same amount of space. Now, why is that important? Well, let's make more pixels, and let's say we want to draw the letter A. And this is the outside boundary of one of the strokes of a letter, the letter A. Well, as you can see, we turn on pixels inside that stroke. We can get far more precision the more pixels we have. And we play all sorts of tricks by putting different levels of gray pixels on that line as well to try to fuzz it for our eye. But when we zoom out of this, what you can see is that because we have 4 times as many pixels, we get really, really sharp text compared to what we normally get on displays of lesser resolution. Now, the Retina display has 326 pixels per inch. There's never been a display like this on a phone. People haven't even dreamed about a display like this on a phone. But it's more than that. It turns out that there's a magic number right around 300 pixels per inch that when you hold something around 10 or 12 inches away from your eyes is the limit of the human retina to differentiate the pixels. And so they're so close together when you get at this 300 pixels per inch threshold that all of a sudden things start to look like continuous curves. Like text looks like you've seen it in a fine printed book, unlike you've ever seen on an electronic display before. And at 326 pixels per inch, we are comfortably over that limit, and it's extraordinary. Once you use a Retina display, you can't go back. I'm going to go to some websites. I'm going to go to the New York Times today, and let's just compare these websites. Our networks in here are always unpredictable, so they're a little, I have no idea what we're going to find. They are slow today. You know, you could help me out if you're on Wi-Fi, if you could just get off. I'd appreciate it. I'm afraid I have a problem, and I'm not going to be able to show you much here today. I think this is going to set the standard for displays for the next several years, and we don't think anybody's going to come close. And you know, the display is your window into the internet, into your apps, into your media, into your software. We think it's maybe the most important single component of the hardware. And we've got something here now that's like the best window on the planet. So that's the Retina display. Third up, the iPhone 4 is powered by the A4 chip. Apple's A4 chip. This is a chip designed by our own team. They are really good, and this is wonderful to have in an iPhone. Now, let me show it to you. This is the back of the iPhone. You take the back off. First thing you notice is the iPhone 4 is packed to the gills. There's a tremendous amount of functionality in not such a big space. And so you have to kind of hunt to find the A4 chip, but it's right there. Now, because we've been able to make the battery a little bit bigger, and because the A4 is so good with power management, we've been able to improve the battery life as well. So we have up to 40% more talk time on 3G, from 5 hours to 7 hours now, and 300 hours of standby. So we're very pleased with this. Number 5, a whole new camera system built into iPhone 4. Now, everybody loves to talk about things that are very tangible when it comes to photography, like megapixels. But we tend to ask the question, how do we make better pictures? And they're different things. Megapixels are nice, but what cell phone cameras are really about is capturing photons. Because the cameras are so small, the sensors are so small, the lenses are so small, that it's all about capturing photons and low-light photography. So what we've done is we've gone from a 3 megapixel to a 5 megapixel sensor But we're using something that has been shipping for a while in larger cameras, but is fairly new to smartphones, and that is what's called a backside illuminated sensor. It's a way of getting a lot more photons to the sensor by getting some of the wiring and stuff out of the way. In addition to that, when most people increase their megapixels, they make those pixels smaller. When you make pixels smaller, they capture less photons. What we've done is we've gone from 3 to 5 megapixels, we've kept the pixels the same size, 1.75 microns. And so they don't capture less photons per pixel, and we have more pixels. This gives you, as an example, that low-light photograph is hard to take with any camera, much less a phone. So we're really happy with the photos we're taking with the iPhone 4. We think we got a great camera built in. But that's not all. Because the camera also records HD video. And that's HD video at full 720p at 30 frames per second. So it's real HD video. You can actually record HD video right on your phone, edit it right on your phone, and then with a few taps, email it, send it in an MMS, send it to MobileMe, send it to YouTube. It's pretty remarkable. But we're going even further than that. Because what we've done is we've written an application ourselves called iMovie for iPhone. And rather than tell you about this, I want to show it to you. And to show it to you, it's my great pleasure to invite Randy Ubelos. He's one of our incredible engineers. He's the chief architect for all our video apps. I'd like Randy to come up and show this to you himself. Randy?
Now, I've been working on video editing software for a long time on some pretty groundbreaking products. 15 years ago, it was Final Cut Pro. 3 years ago, it was the new iMovie. This year, I had the opportunity to work on another one, iMovie for iPhone, and it's one of the most exciting things I've ever worked on. You can now record HD video, edit with beautiful theme transitions and titles, and share your finished movies all on the device that you carry in your pocket every day. It's really amazing. Let me show it to you. Go ahead and bring this up, and you can see the icon there. I'll go ahead and tap on that. So once we bring up the application, you get a list of all the projects that you have. And I'm going to go ahead and just tap on this project, and now I get my editing environment. I can see the clips that I have edited into this project down here along the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and rotate the phone over so we can go to landscape. You see I got the same view here. And let's go ahead and do a little bit of editing on this. I can record directly into the timeline if I want, or I can choose from existing clips and photos that are on the device. I'm going to go to my video bin here, and I'll just scroll down. Let's pick this clip. And put this in, and I can pinch and change the scale of the timeline down here. And we'll go ahead and select this clip, and now I can just grab the pin and drag this to trim the beginning portion of the clip to set the length to be whatever I'd like. I can zoom that in a little bit if I like. Now let's go ahead and add a photo. So what I'm going to do is go back to my bin, go to my photos, then I'll scroll down here a little bit, and we got this Weekend in SF event. Got a nice picture here that's got the whole group. So I'll go ahead and choose that. Now, once I've got that in there, I can tap on it, and photos automatically get a Ken Burns effect on them. So I can go ahead and adjust that. I'll go back to the beginning, and I can pan around, I can zoom in, and you'll see that as we go from the beginning to the end, I'll get a nice Ken Burns effect on that. I can also use theme transitions. So I'm going to go ahead to this title, and I'm going to switch it from a cross dissolve to a theme transition. And when I do that, I get this nice theme transition that'll come across on here. We can go ahead and put a title on the first clip. I'll just double tap on it. I'll select title, and I'll choose an opening title. I'll just go ahead and tap, and I'll give it a nice title here. So I'll go ahead and just type in our California vacation. And once I put that in there, one of the things you'll notice is that it's put San Francisco on there. The camera records geolocation information into the video that's been recorded, and we pick that up automatically, and it gets put into the theme, as you see there on the screen. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some music. So I'll go ahead and I'll bring up the audio bin. I could bring in music from my iTunes library, or we also have some theme music that comes with the product. So I'll go ahead and choose this playful track. And let's go ahead and just play this back.
We're in San Francisco.
Now we have 5 different themes with iMovie, so I'll go ahead and tap the gear here, and I can switch to a different theme. So I'll switch to the travel theme and select that I'd like to use the theme music. And what you can see here is that for this theme, the geolocation data has actually been put on a pin on a map, and that map slides around and the pin moves around based on the location that you have on the map. And if I scroll over here a little bit, you'll see the transition has been replaced with this nice theme transition with some stamps and things. So that happens automatically when you switch from one theme to another. So I can come back to the project list, and I can tap the export button, and I have 3 different sizes that I can choose to export all the way up to HD 720p. And what I'm going to do now is we're going to show you a version of this project that was exported out at 720p HD, and what you're going to see was produced entirely on the phone, recorded, edited, rendered, all completely on the phone. I'll go ahead and show you that.
We're in San Francisco.
Isn't that awesome? So iMovie for iPhone. This is, again, part of this amazing new camera system on the iPhone 4, and we're really proud of it, and I think you're going to like it a lot. Now, before I begin number 6, our guys were running around like crazy backstage, as you might imagine. And we figured out why my demo crashed. Because there are 570 Wi-Fi base stations operating in this room. Okay? We can't deal with that. So we have 2 choices. Either I've got some more demos that are really great that I'd like to show you. So we either turn off all this stuff and see the demos, or we give up and I don't show you the demos. Would you like to see the demos or not? Okay. So here's the deal. Let's turn up the lights in the hall. Several hundred of these are these MiFi things, too, by the way. So all you bloggers need to turn off your base stations, turn off your Wi-Fi. Every notebook, I'd like them to put them down on the floor. And all of you look around, I'd like you to police each other. If you want to see the demos, shut all your laptops, turn off all these MiFi base stations, and put them on the floor, please. Come on, look around you. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I'm sorry to inconvenience you, but if we want to see the demos, this is what we have to do. All right. So, number 6, iPhone OS 4, the most advanced mobile operating system in the world. The first new feature is that we're going to rename it. We're going to take away the phone because it's on iPads and iPod Touches and iPhones. So we're going to rename it iOS 4, or iOS, and this is the 4th version. And we're going to go even further. We're going to give it some metal. So, iOS 4 rolls off the tongue. Now, iOS 4 is our most ambitious release to date. There's over 100 new user features as well. The biggest being multitasking. Now, you know, some people have said, well, you weren't first with multitasking, and they're right, just like we weren't first with cut, copy, and paste. It took us a little while to figure out how to do it just right. And the same is true of multitasking. If you don't do it right, you're going to burn battery life. And it's nice to see some people agreeing with us. This is a statement that Larry Page made just a few weeks ago. software running in the background, that just sort of exhausts the battery quickly. Yes, it does. Unless you do it right. And so, now, we weren't the first to this party, but we're going to be the best. Just like cut and paste. Other people had cut and paste before we did, but everybody, it's, I think, widely believed that we just nailed it with the way we did it, and it's much better than any other implementation. I think people will think the same about multitasking, because it's really easy to implement multitasking in a way that really drains battery life. These apps start running in the background, and there goes your battery. And it's really easy to implement it in a way that reduces the performance of the foreground app and makes your phone feel really sluggish. So if you don't do it just right, your phone's going to feel sluggish and your battery life's going to go way down. And people have experienced that a lot. We figured out how to implement multitasking for third-party apps and avoid those things.
Right? How are we adding multitasking while preserving battery life and performance? Well, we looked at the tens of thousands of apps in the App Store, and we distilled down the services that those apps need to multitask in the background. And then we implemented all those services ourselves and did so in a way that preserves battery life and performance. And now, in iPhone OS 4, we're providing those services as APIs to developers. So developers can add multitasking while the system preserves battery life and performance.
And so we've taken a little longer, but we think we've come up with a good architecture for multitasking, along with an awesome user interface that is just the best in the industry for finding your apps and instantly switching between them. So those are the 8 things I wanted to share with you on iPhone 4. What do you think so far? You like it? I think it's a lot more than people thought it was. I don't know. What do you think? Is it more than you thought? Well, we're really pleased with it. But there is one more thing. And I think it's best that I just show you. Now, I really want your Wi-Fi devices off. Are they off? Please turn them off if you've turned them back on. So, in 2007, when we launched the iPhone, it was my privilege to make the first public call on stage to one of my best friends in the whole world, Johnny Ive, the head of our design team. And I'd like to do the same on this occasion. So I'm going to go ahead and call Johnny now. Hey, Johnny. This never freezes up, so you guys haven't turned off all your Wi-Fi. Come on, let's get it off, please. Hey, Johnny, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay, except for these guys that aren't turning their Wi-Fi off.
Bit naughty, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, this is amazing. I grew up here in the U.S. with the Jetsons and with Star Trek and communicators, and just dreaming about this. You know, dreaming about video calling, and it's real now.
It's sort of odd, isn't it? Because as you know, the idea of communicating this way, it's an old idea. It's one that we're familiar with. We've just had to wait. We've had to wait an awfully long time for it to become real, haven't we?
So, we call this FaceTime. FaceTime video calling. And It's great. And there is no setup required. You don't have to find a server. You don't have to type in anything. You don't need a special code. You don't need a buddy list. Nothing. You just make a phone call. You can use the front or the rear camera. You can switch to the rear camera so the person on the other end can see what you're seeing. You just switch back and forth real easy. Portrait or landscape. You turn your phone, it automatically does the right thing on the other side. So if you have two people wanting to talk to somebody, you can just go into landscape and get a little bit wider aspect ratio. And the video and the audio quality is great. Now, we put together a video to kind of try to summarize all the features of the iPhone 4, and I'd like to run that now.
iPhone 4 is so much more than just another new product. I mean, this will have a lasting impact on the way that we actually connect with each other.
In 2007, the iPhone reinvented the phone. In 2008, the iPhone 3G brought faster 3G networking and the revolutionary App Store. In 2009, the iPhone 3GS was twice as fast and brought out new features like video recording. For 2010, the iPhone 4 is the biggest leap forward since the original iPhone. We're introducing the amazing Retina display, and we're bringing video calling to the world. And we call it FaceTime. It's going to change the way we communicate forever.
The very first time I had a FaceTime call, I was blown away because it is amazingly engaging, personal. It's all about connecting people. I think of my own children, like 7, 8 years, they'll be off at college. And I can imagine being able to call them and see them, but also look into their eyes and see how are they really doing. What makes it even better is that it switches from the front camera to the back camera. So you can show someone what you're seeing. And because it's so mobile as your phone, you'll be able to chat anywhere there's Wi-Fi.
But what's amazing is every time I've been using it, you can't help but smile and go, I can't believe this is real. This is actually happening.
Another thing we're really excited about on the new iPhone 4 is the Retina display. It's the highest resolution display ever built into a phone. At 326 pixels per inch, you get 4 times the pixels as before. So instead of the fuzziness of individual pixels, you get smooth, continuous shapes and tone. You have something that looks to your eye like you're holding a printed page in your hand. And the level of fine detail in images is just incredible. Another thing that adds to the sharpness and clarity is optical lamination. That's a very precise technical process that laminates the cover glass to the display and eliminates light refraction. So all of the hard work that's been put into this ultra-high resolution display is presented with the most visual clarity. On top of that, we use IPS technology and LED backlight, so you get the most vivid experience in everything you do.
The display on the iPhone is blow away. Apps can show more detail than you've ever seen on any device before. The text is just perfect. iPhone 4 enables multitasking for all apps. You can now quickly switch between applications, and everything is exactly as you left it. Pictures taken with a 5-megapixel camera look amazing. And we even have an LED flash, so you can take photos in low light. Plus, the camera captures full 720p high-def video at up to 30 frames per second. Not only can you record great video, but you can also edit your video right on your iPhone with iMovie. The iPhone, for a user, it is simplicity, it is easy to use. Behind it is intense technology.
What's running all this incredible software is our A4 chip. It's custom-designed silicon And what that gets you is remarkable speed and efficiency in a really small chip. The one thing we made larger was the battery. In fact, iPhone 4 delivers up to 40% more talk time.
We started with completely opposing goals. I mean, we wanted to make this iPhone more capable. We wanted to add more features. And yet at the same time, we wanted to make it smaller and even thinner. And that led to some really surprising innovation. And we developed an entirely new grade of stainless steel that after machining is incredibly strong, but also remarkably precise. The steel frame functions as the antenna, but also the primary structure, giving us more internal volume. We also developed a custom glass that's comparable in strength to sapphire crystal, but about 30 times harder than plastic. This glass is not only used on the front of the phone, but also on the back. The quality of the materials, the manufacturing precision, the advanced technology, ultimately, all of this becomes relevant when you just hold it in your hand.
Even if FaceTime were the only new feature we're delivering, this would be an amazing new iPhone. But it's the fact that we've got the Retina display, 5-megapixel camera, high-def video recording, A4 chip, bigger battery, all in a thinner product. This is going to change everything, all over again.
I put up this slide a little earlier this year, and to me it represents what Apple's all about. Apple's not just a technology company, even though we have and invent some of the highest technology in our industry. It's more than that. It's the marriage of that, plus, if you will, the humanities or the liberal arts that distinguishes Apple. It's the hardware and the software working together, coming up with A4 chips that work with the software to give us these incredible battery lives. It's not just a great new camera system built into the iPhone 4, but it's the video editing software built in and iMovie for iPhone that really takes it the distance and gives you a complete solution. It's not just a front-facing camera. It's a front-facing camera and 18 months worth of work to come up with software that you'll never even notice when you want to place a video call. It's the complete solution so that all of us don't have to be system integrators. And I am so proud of the teams that have made this product. It's really extraordinary, and I urge you to get your hands on one and see for yourself. So before we end today, I'd like to just say thanks to the teams that have worked their tails off for the last 18 months to create the iPhone 4. Mark Papermaster and his hardware team, can you guys please stand up? All of the Johnny Ive and the design team. Bob Mansfield and the A4 team. Scott Forrestal and our remarkable iOS software team. Scott. And all of this wouldn't make any difference if we couldn't build a ton of them. Tim and our operations team. Jeff, stand up, please. And all the rest of the Apple family that just supports us in 1,000 ways. I'm really proud of all you guys. Awesome job. So, thank you very much for coming this morning. And this is our new baby. I hope you love it as much as we do. Thank you very much.